This video is to document the progress on a system I am developing, which is a node-based procedural modeling tool inside of Unity. The way this works is on any of your game objects you can add a builder graph component. This builder graph component then contains your node hierarchy. When you select a game object which has a builder graph component, then you will see its builder graph, the node-based system, in the builder graph window below. What you're seeing here is the node system, or the builder graph, required to construct this racetrack. And not just the racetrack, but also its independent and separate floor colliders, left wall colliders, and right wall collider. The way this works is when you are inside of the builder graph window, you can right-click to create new nodes. Right now there are 7. Eventually I would like to make a fairly comprehensive node system to let you create fairly complex geometries. These nodes you can then drag around, and you can also chain them together by middle-clicking and dropping them into the slot on another node. The nodes right now use plain old Unity events. So this is the same exact UI that you get for a Unity event. And I use reflection to go through and read what they're connected to then draw these little lines that go between them. At some point I will update the UI of this node-based system to remove the default Unity event UI and put nice little notches and nicely colored bubbles and wires to make it comparable to other modern node-based systems. But for right now it's in this fairly raw state. You can also right-click on nodes to delete them. One of the things you can do with the nodes as you implement them is make it so that when you select one, it will draw custom UI in the scene view. You can see when I select this Bezier curve node that it draws the Bezier curve and the editable points, and also this little UI. I can then click Edit and begin to select curve points to move them around, or select multiple curve points to edit one simultaneously, and also adjust the Bezier curve weights. This curve node then pipes into a duplicate curve node. The purpose of this duplicate curve node is to let you offset the curve to then define the up direction of the curve. This is so that you can then curve the resulting track to do banking turns or other things. If you put a curve to this and then update the prior node, it will of course update the resulting duplicated curve as well to reflect that. These then pipe into a curve convert node, which converts the curves into vertices. This lets you specify the spacing between each produced vertice in world space. That node then pipes into a curve refine node. This node lets you specify an angle threshold, and then it will knock out vertices which are below that threshold. What this allows you to do is tune it so that you end up with more vertices in tight turns and fewer vertices in straight paths. Below here is then another additional 4 nodes, curve nodes, and these are the rail curves that are getting swept along the path. There is the racetrack curve that you see visually swept, and then that is the floor collider curve, the left wall collider curve, and the right wall collider curve. All of these get piped into the curve convert nodes to be turned into vertices. You can specify whether or not you want it to be piped in as linear or cubic Bezier, so that you end up with, in this instance, the exact amount of vertices placed manually, or you want it to use the Bezier curve function to blend between vertices. These then pipe into the final curves sweep nodes. What these nodes then do is generate the final geometry off of a rail curve and a path curve. Since these are just regular plain Unity events, the resulting output of this mesh is actually put straight into the mesh filter in the scene. If you see, I can click this, and this is piped to there, and that's actually the procedural mesh being output from this curve sweep node. You can come in here and just directly drag your game object into any of these nodes, since they are plain Unity events. The system actually does let you intermix anything in any game object or any component in your scene with any node in your node system. I don't know if that's too open-ended or not, but currently it does allow this. So the resulting of what you get here is a racetrack with all of its generated procedural colliders, and this all updates in real time as you edit it. These nodes are implemented by implementing a base class which is called builder node. You implement the builder node and it comes with a few basic things that are common to all the nodes, but since the node system relies on Unity events, all you have to do is specify a public method or a public property for a Unity event to hook into, and then you specify a Unity event which will be called to output the results of the node. This all ends up with this racetrack, which is for a new version of my racing game I am working on, which will be a hover racing game. As you can see here, I have the hover racing mechanics and the camera setup fairly well worked out so far, and hopefully in not too long I will have the procedural modeling tool on the Unity Asset Store and this game on the App Store.